Dawood Muhammad Farhan is a Yemeni repentant sorcerer who inherited the practice of black magic from his father, who was one of the greatest and most popular sorcerers in Yemen. Dawood was open about his life as a sorcerer and what made him repent, and this is his story. His story and encounter with demons started when he was just a baby. When the demons would come to him taking different shapes and forms and made him suffer by causing him frequent seizures. To make the seizures stop, his father sought the help of demons, and he made a deal with them by giving his own son to the king of demons to become their servant and his successor. Dawood never had seizures again and the demons disappeared, and he grew up healthy. At the age of 14 his father passed away. His father's passing opened a new door for him, a door that led to a dark world that turned his life upside down. Dawood began to see and meet beautiful women with alluring beauty in empty places like forests. These women in fact were not humans, they were demons that took on the form of beautiful women to lure him into committing sins. One night, when Dawood was at the age of 15, he was returning home from the forest. He found a mount that was tied to a tree near a house. He thought that it belonged to a man who came to do the same thing that he came for. Dawood untied the mount and rode on it to take him home because his house was far from the forest. On the way home the mount suddenly stopped and refused to move. Dawood started hitting the mount to move. He hit it twice on the neck with a stick. As he was trying to do it for the third time, the mount turned its head and looked at him saying in a female's voice, "Do you really think that I am an animal to hit me?" He tried to hit the mount again. As he left his hand to do it, the mount disappeared and Dawood lost consciousness for 3 years. When he woke up from his coma he found himself chained up and imprisoned inside his house. His mother did that because she was afraid that her son would go out and go back to that forest. After he woke up he began to plead his mother to untie him and let him out because he needed some fresh air. At the end he succeeded in convincing her. Dawood began to go out nearly every night to please the demons by eating animal cadaver or fight dogs and devour them. Then he returned home with a full stomach and pretended that nothing weird had happened. One day, Dawood went out and headed to a place called Zabid area where he stayed 3 days, then went to a place called Yofris in Taz Governorate, and stayed in mosque there for 15 days. There, he was told about some of his father's belonging that he should have, because they would make him loved and wise. He went back home and asked his mother to give him what he was told he should have. His mother told him that she no longer has them, but he didn't believe her and pointed exactly where they were hidden. Those precious belongings were 3 books of magic, which is considered one of the most dangerous books of magic, in addition to a ring and a rosary. After Dawood put his hands on the books, he started reading some talismans in numbers as it was conditioned, until he reached the level where he was able to see what they called the great spiritual man, whose in fact was the Satan. He was in the form of a white man, in white thobe with a white beard. He asked Dawood about his wish. Dawood answered that he wants servant to serve him. Then the man disappeared. Dawood was able to unlock a greater level, and of course there were some conditions. The first and most important condition was the phase of isolation, where Dawood had to isolate himself somewhere away from people, some place where he can't be seen or interact with others. He found a cave where he stayed and there he was asked by demons to cut the Quran into half and step on it, another Quran to shred it and piss and defecate on it, and not to shower, and he had to do that for 40 days. Other conditions were to not attend or enter places where the Quran was recited, and never really read the Quran. He could only read few verses to deceive and trick people into believing that he was a good person that truly believes in God so they come to him to cure them. He basically was living a double life. Between him and himself, he was doing all the things that were forbidden in the religion of Islam, and in front of people he was praying reading the Quran like any Muslim does, but that didn't last. One night, after finishing what he did every other night, from sorcery and tricking people to believing that he cured them using magic, Dawood felt so tired and drained out, so he asked for a quiet room to rest. That night, in that quiet room, he had a dream where he died. When he was buried, he wanted to scream that he was alive but he couldn't. Dawood was alone in the tomb surrounded by darkness. He noticed in the darkness some figures with thunder-like voices. They approached him and ordered him to pray. They brought him a cauldron filled with liquid that could melt iron. He tried to run away as a copper hand stemmed from the floor, grabbed him and tossed him in the cauldron. Dawood screamed and woke up. Few moments later he got back to sleep again, and that time, he saw his father in the same place. Abluting using the liquid in the pot that seemed to be water, his father turned and told him to escape that life and to ablut and pray to God. Dawood considered that dream as a sign from God, and he did indeed escape that life, but that wasn't easy, because demons wouldn't let him go that easily. Dawood said that they took the life of his children and his wife to frighten him, to force him to go back to his old life. Dawood left that life and that dark past behind him and started a new life away from dark magic, demons, and deception.